Hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. Khalyla from Tigerbelly, apparently she cries after coitus, and apparently she gets kind of depressed. And it made me think that perhaps I should talk about her for a bit. And I guess I'll do that in a minute. Of course, I am Earthling, yada yada yada. I have a couple of degrees. I've traveled a bit. I lost almost 100 pounds from my heaviest, and I've kept that off for a number of years. And I take care of my uncle who has dementia. So, Khalyla from Tigerbelly. This is comedian Bobby Lee's girlfriend of 8 years. And this is a beautiful, normal weight woman who should have a pretty good life. And she's saying that after something that should be great, which is sex, that no matter whether or not she's happy in the relationship or not, she feels really sad after having sex, and she cries every time, she says. And I found this to be so odd. Now, she is a very nice woman in terms of she laughs at almost anything she says, excluding animals. You know, she asked somebody one time what their line is. And she laughs at so many different things, except animals. So it doesn't seem, I guess, you have to see people in all sorts of different environments, but she seems like she has it made. They have a very popular podcast between them. They have all these interesting guests. She seems to have a stable, what's the word, coitus? I don't remember, but a stable group of friends outside of the industry that she's had for all of her life. And maybe it is that this thing where she cries after sex is not really that much of a big deal, but she did admit that she struggles with depression as well. So I don't know that it's not anything at all, really, because number one, depression is a bad thing. Number two, sex is supposed to be a good thing. And, number three, while her relationship with Bobby Lee also seems to be pretty healthy, they talk a lot, very freely, about their lives. I've never seen anybody storm off like Trisha from Frenemies, from their podcast. I haven't seen any of the old ones, but it just struck me that she was saying, and let me go into her life as far as I know. So she's mixed with Filipino and is it some kind of European, like French, someone from France, French ancestry. She grew up fairly wealthy for a Filipino. I think her father was independently wealthy. They moved at some point to Mexico, where her father invested everything he had into a business venture and lost everything. Then they moved to the US, I guess, when she was about 15. She was abused, and when she told her family about her abuse, they didn't really do anything about it. They didn't do the right thing by her, as well as, I guess she says by herself. I don't know if she would take that back if she hears someone else say it. when you hear other people say your position, sometimes it doesn't really sound like what you want. So you just want to say it again in your words. At least that's happened to me. And I think that's happened to that female comedian as well. But yeah, she says that she was kind of promiscuous when she was younger. And I wonder if that has anything to do with the fact that she cries after sex and she's depressed and has that depression. It probably has a lot to do with her promiscuity when she was young. But, as I'm saying that, it just brings up the, my shock at some of the things that she mentioned, that a beautiful woman who, has a body type that many people would yearn for. She was saying how when she was depressed, in some instances, she would just call up her ex-boyfriend to come and get her. And I guess, she would just fall back into that. And here I am thinking, you can have probably anybody around you. And yet, she was talking about this relationship that she was in with someone who later came out to be gay. And it was such an abusive relationship. And, it was odd the way that they had intercourse, for example. And I was just thinking, you are this beautiful person who came from a family of means, at least when you were younger, who was pushed in by your mom to being a competitive swimmer. You swam for the Philippines in order to make sure that you were able to sustain yourself. And it's just, as someone who's not particularly handsome, I suppose, myself, it is shocking to me to see that the insecurities that very beautiful people have when they are being honest. I mean, everybody is going to have them. Everybody gets used to their position in life, whatever it might be. And yeah, everybody is going to have problems. You can be the richest person in the world and you're still going to have what you perceive to be problems, because all of the problems that were solved, they're out of sight, out of mind. And whatever minor, tiny issues there might be, and some issues are inescapable regardless of how much money you have. Steve Jobs died of, some kind of pancreatic related cancer anyway. There's a guy from Microsoft, the guy who's co-founded Microsoft with Bill Gates. He is dead, and he was a billionaire. Money can't save you when our technology hasn't gotten to that point yet. So, yeah, the very rich are probably not going to have health problems that can be solved with money, but you're still going to have insecurities even if your body is great. You're still going to have feuds with people. You might still have problems with neighbors. You might still have legal problems. You're still going to have relationship problems. So yeah, it's not surprising when you really think about it, but it's still surprising to hear. Now, again, I guess I'm just jumping around. I don't have a complete plan to this, but from time to time, Khalyla will bring up the fact that she has killed 2 babies, as in she's had 2 abortions with Bobby Lee. I don't know if she had prior to that or not, but yeah, she only mentions it 2 with Bobby. And she has mentioned that people have told her that she was foolish because that's what many people try to do with professional athletes. They try to have children with professional athletes so that yeah, meaning rich people, wealthier people, so that they and their kids would be set for life. And here she is saying that her relationship with Bobby Lee was not solid at the time, and as a result, she didn't want to. And I can't remember the reason, maybe, for the second abortion that she had. But, she says that she specifically uses coarse language, one could say, like she killed two babies, because she does not want to stigmatize having an abortion, even though I guess it was not an easy time for her. And I have to say, it's hopefully at some point I will become immune to it, because when she says that, it just like it's like a little bit of a shock to my system to hear that. I don't know how that goes. I mean, I respect her position. I am pro-abortion. I don't like the idea of it. But you know what? I probably don't like the idea of surgery, period. Any kind of surgery, where I look at surgery and sometimes I get really like nauseous and dizzy and disoriented and I have to lie down. I even have that happened to me when I was looking at one of these Saw movies. And I went out of the theater and I came back in and I was fine. But as far as I know, a baby is a blank slate. I think this whole idea of a baby is a person and has all the rights of a person confuses. It's an argument that tries to muddy the waters and make a baby seem, or a fetus rather, seem as if it is a whole and complete person that is able and capable of taking care of itself without years and years of nurturing and resources on the part of whoever it is going to take care of the child. So, and given the fact that the care of child rearing and the responsibility and the guilt and everything else of it falls completely on to women. I don't know how anybody has any kind of input as to what a woman should do before her child is able to self-sustain itself. We all know how trying it can be in the first couple of months of having a kid. We all know how difficult it can be to raise a child right, to get them involved in all sorts of extracurricular activities. And we know how difficult it can be when a child falls in with the wrong crowd, as people say. So I don't know. People who are in no way, shape, or form willing to assist, whether through taxes or through their time or fostering kids or adopting children or anything, have the loudest voices, and it's always just amazing to me. But I'm diverging. But my point is that she says that, I don't know how she feels about it. I guess she still feels the same way, that it was not a good time for her to have kids. Then of course I also hear that when she got with Bobby Lee, the fact that she decided to go ahead and have these double D breast implants that she eventually removed. But her thinking was, again, and her thinking is, every so often she keeps saying that, if the things don't work out with Bobby, I need something to fall back on. And she mentions the fact that I guess that this has been drilled into her head from a very young age. I guess always have a backup plan. And I guess the fact that her father lost all of the money that he had, and himself died quite a long time ago because he had her at such a late age in his life, would lend to this idea, this instability that she has in her life. I mean, even, immigrating to the US and being uprooted from her life in the Philippines, I guess all of that would have a background of instability. It would have created and maintained a background of anything can happen anytime, so be aware and be prepared kind of thing. And, you look at someone like her, she looks like she could, as people say, have almost any man that she wants. She wants Bobby Lee, even though, as his ex-girlfriend would say, and as she would admit, that they don't share a lot of interests. So she's not interested in video games at all. She couldn't give an F, like she said, and he spends so much time playing video games, like 16 hours a day. He gets up at in the afternoon, and she feels sometimes as if she is his roommate. It's just kind of crazy. You look at people who seem to have so much and have it all and be popular, and yeah, there's so many insecurities that are there. Of course, it makes for great material to talk about, which is part of the reason why I guess I keep looking at their podcast and her on Bloodbath as well. So anyway, that's it for me. Feel free to, I keep forgetting to say, like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube feedback, keeping in mind what you would like for feedback if you were putting content on YouTube. Have a good one. Peace.